College and junior college. Community colleges, some Wesleyans. We're already recording, dude, so we've been recording for like the last 4 minutes. Recon Podcast, Episode 3. Zach Lucero's in the house with his KFC. We're looking for our sponsors, so KFC. He's got the fill-up, $5 fill-up. What you got there, Zach?
Shout out the Famous Bowl.
Famous Bowl. That's got the chicken, the mashed potatoes, looks like corn, and a little bit of cheese there. That looks pretty good. He also got the cookie. I noticed how you ate the cookie first. What was up with that?
My mom's not here to tell me to eat my regular food first,
Okay.
So I eat the dessert. And also this one had way too much corn, so KFC, you should fix that next time. The corn to chicken ratio was just all out of whack.
Dude, don't be disparaging our potential sponsors, bro. Come on. You should say it was delicious. You loved it. Come on, man. No.
So was that a Chicken Little you had appetizer? Because if you're going Chicken Little, cookie, and then Famous Bowl, like that's my setup. But I finished with a cookie.
Yeah, it was a Chicken Little first, a barbecue, but that one wasn't that good either. So shout out Popeyes.
All right.
Yeah, shout out Popeyes, our church's chicken, Golden Chick. Real close to where my dad works. Kind of expensive, but that means they got that bread to slide us, just like let us hold a little bit.
Yeah. Word. So Golden Chick, Popeyes, KFC, all of these chicken places that we just mentioned. Somebody want to be our first ever sponsor for Recon Podcast, hit us up. You can hit up Paul. How do you even get a hold of you, Paul?
So you can reach me at paul.rodriguez at reconathlete.com.
All right. And then, Zach, you got something?
Actually, just chicken in general. If chicken in general can sponsor us. So I heard this thing on the radio today. It said there are more chickens on farms than birds in general, like flying birds. So there's like an excess of chicken. So whoever, Big Chicken, can slide us some cash.
All right. So Big Bird.
Our Cash App, Venmo, whatever.
All right. Big Bird from Sesame Street. If you're out there listening, you can be our first Recon Podcast sponsor. Recon Podcast, Episode 3. We're going to talk some college football, NFL. We got Zach Lucero in the house, Paul Rodriguez. Of course, I'm your host, Chris Sanchez. Snoop Daniel is out doing something else. He's actually trying to be on the radio, like he's an actual radio guy, which he is.
That is
Shout out to Snoop. He's on 11 to 6 on 95.9, Monday through Friday, so you can shout out to Snoop. But we're going to talk with Paul Rodriguez first and Zach Lucero about college football. I think, Zach, we'll go with you first because you had a Trevor Lawrence take, and you actually have the Trevor Lawrence hair. So is the Trevor Lawrence take about his hair?
No, mine's curlier than Trevor Lawrence.
It is a little bit.
Trevor Lawrence has that like cowabunga hair. You
More
know
wavy.
what I'm saying? That Cali Swag District hair.
Okay.
First of all, do y'all think? I'm gonna get both of y'all's opinion. Do y'all think Trevor Lawrence is a lock for the Heisman?
I do.
I think Trevor Lawrence is a lock for the Heisman and number 1 overall pick if he can come out, but he can't till the next season.
Yeah.
So y'all saw Urban Meyer. Urban Meyer had some stuff to say about Trevor Lawrence, basically calling him he had to kind of come back and clarify his statement, but he basically said that Trevor Lawrence is the greatest college quarterback of all time. But I think like just the eye test right now.
Right.
You can make an argument for that. But is he even the best Clemson quarterback? He only has one. He has one natty.
Okay.
How can you make a statement like that? Is he better than Deshaun Watson?
That's what I
Is
was
he a
gonna
better
ask
college player than Deshaun Watson?
I was going to say, is that what the argument is here? Or the take is Deshaun Watson?
Right now Trevor Lawrence projects as this pick, but what if Trevor Lawrence doesn't win any more national championships,
which he might,
still gets drafted number 1 overall, which he probably, no matter what, he will.
Yeah.
If he doesn't win any more natties, is he better than Deshaun Watson?
Yes, I think so. And only because of how impressive he was last year. I just think that, like you said, the eye test. To me, it was like as soon as I saw Trevor Lawrence play, I was like, this dude's really like 18, 19 years old. Like he looked like an NFL quarterback at that young age. So I really think that he is a better quarterback now for Clemson than Deshaun Watson was probably at the same point. Paul, what's your take on that?
Well, we all knew that Kelly Bryant was starting the 2018 season for the Clemson Tigers and Dabo Swinney, but it was no mistake that Dabo had to make a big decision and to replace his quarterback with Trevor Lawrence and tell Kelly Bryant he's going to have to be in a supporting role, and Kelly Bryant wasn't good with that, but. Initially, I think Trevor Lawrence started like the third game, but throughout the season he progressively got better, and his apex was the championship game against Alabama. Now, with all of that in hindsight, at this moment right now, before we begin the 2019 campaign, Trevor Lawrence at this time is better than 5 NFL quarterbacks at his present state.
What?
Oh, tell me 5 quarterbacks he is not better than. Tell me 5 he isn't better than.
I mean, anybody in the NFL right now, man. Come on.
Kirk,
really?
Do you think he's better than? Do you think he's better than Kirk Cousins?
You trying to say? Oh, Zach's getting over. You need something?
He has something to say.
Oh, hold on. He needs a mic. Hey, we're gonna get some more mics on this. Hold on.
Trevor Lawrence is in comp 2 right now. Trevor Lawrence is in comp 1. You can't. He's not better. I mean, what 5 quarterbacks is he better than? Joe Flacco.
No.
Who?
Joe Flacco, I would say he's got as good of arm as Joe Flacco. He probably doesn't have the Super Bowl ring that Joe Flacco has.
Case Keenum?
No. I have quarterbacks that he's better through. Kirk Cousins. He's better than Kirk Cousins. He's better than Nathan Peterman. He's better than...
Okay, Nathan Peterman doesn't even start.
Nathan Peterman for Buffalo doesn't start.
No, he's backup for the Raiders.
Oh,
you don't watch Hard Knocks?
No, I don't watch Hard Knocks. Who's the quarterback in Buffalo?
Josh Allen.
Okay, is he better than Josh Allen?
No,
he's not better. Man, I think he's a better arm than Josh Allen.
Better arm than Josh Allen? No.
Yes.
No.
I really
Josh Allen has that was his thing. Like
Josh Allen is a great
Josh
quarterback.
Allen maybe wasn't like as well rounded and talked about as Hunter Lawrence, but Josh Allen's thing was his arm. So literally, you could have said anything right there other than better arm.
Is he better than Josh Rosen?
Okay, the way we talk about Trevor Lawrence, we talked about Josh Rosen when he was at UCLA.
Is he better than Kyler Murray?
No.
Man, okay. Well, then you're looking at something I'm not looking at.
The talk of last year was who in college?
Kyler Murray. Why? Because he was fast and he was speedy.
So the only reason we talked about Kyler Murray because he was fast?
I would say yes.
The only reason.
Yeah.
I'm about to throw up.
Go ahead.
There's too much corn in that famous bowl.
Your KFC's right there.
Okay, anyways, that's not my take, although I am just bamboozled. Okay. But okay, so the way people talk about the argument between Tom Brady the GOAT or Belichick the GOAT is Tom Brady just what he is and playing for as long as he is because he's in this system that Belichick has. What if this is just Dabo Swinney's system? Because think of the last guys. Deshaun Watson, incredible. We just talked about is he better than Trevor Lawrence? Trevor Lawrence, incredible. The only reason people are talking about Mizzou right now is because of who? Because Kelly Bryant's going to be there.
Sure.
And Kelly Bryant was the guy that came from Dabo Swinney's system. So, I mean, the way we talk about Trevor Lawrence, like, there were more people. He wasn't even the number 1 quarterback in his class. He went back and forth with Justin Fields. The only reason we think he's better than Justin Fields is because Justin Fields hasn't played. So my take was I really wanted to watch Hunter Johnson, who's going to start for Northwestern this year. He was the Trevor Lawrence of the class before, the highly touted guy, the Elite 11, big performer guy. He's going to go. I mean, He's going to go to Northwestern. He's going to make moves because whoever Dabo Swinney recruits is just that type of player. And he's just having all this success because he's there. Like Trevor Lawrence is an incredible player. Don't get me wrong, but I just feel like he's too. You're too. Not. I mean, yeah, you too. Or people are just too quick to anoint him. So I even asked. So what? When you think of quarterbacks,
you sound like Colin Cowherd right now.
Too quick to anoint. The way people talk about like this all around quarterback, it's like the leader, it's like the good looking guy, it's the size, the speed, the arm talent. So I asked the top 5 girls on my Snapchat, look up pictures of these 2 people, Trevor Lawrence, Hunter Johnson. Who do y'all think is better looking? Majority, Hunter Johnson. So Hunter Johnson, if he would be starting at Clemson, it'd be the same thing. It's not as one-sided as people think. Chris, get this mic out of my hand before I throw it.
All right. I like what you're saying there, Zach, because you're basically saying that Trevor Lawrence is as highly touted and highly rated because of his looks. Is that what your take is?
Yeah, he's the complete package, and because he's in the limelight right now.
I think it's because you both share long hair to your shoulders.
All right. Okay. I mean, I can see that. I mean, but I will have to say that personally, yeah, I mean, sure, the guy's, I guess, good looking. I don't know. But to me, like on the field, he's got a helmet on, so you can't really tell. But from what I've seen, he's a heck of a football player. So maybe he's not as good as Deshaun Watson, but Trevor Lawrence, to me, is the number one quarterback in college football right now.
The only freshman quarterback to throw for 30 touchdowns his first season, and he didn't even play a full season.
But how many people? Since when have freshman quarterbacks been starting? That's like a very recent thing because of. I think nowadays, like, you know what you're getting so much more in high school quarterbacks because of all these camps and stuff.
I agree with that.
20 years ago, a freshman quarterback was just the kid that threw the ball on the farm with his dad. Like, now Trent Dilfer's met everyone and like worked with all these people. But also shout out anyone that plays college fantasy football. Hunter Johnson, sleeper pick.
All right, Hunter Johnson, sleeper pick. Thank you, Zach Lucero.
That was like
sideline reporter for the Vandegrift Vipers. You can hear him Friday nights on the Horn. Shout out to the Horn. We're gonna shout out to Snoop Daniel. He was just on Under the Lights tonight. So interesting take, Zach. I know we wanted to start off with college football. We're gonna talk a little bit NFL too here in a second, but that's a take I haven't heard yet. Recon Podcast. Chris Sanchez, Paul Rodriguez, Zach Lucero. Trevor Lawrence is only good because he's attractive, apparently, according to Zach Lucero. And according to the top 5 girls on his Snapchat, Hunter Johnson is better because he's more attractive. All right, let's move on to high school. We'll get into NFL talk a little bit later on, but we've got week 1, fellas. Tomorrow's the Taco Shack Bowl, usually the premier game on week 1. We got Anderson and McCallum, of course. I think, Paul Rodriguez, are you going to be at that game tomorrow?
Yeah, I'm going to be there 7:30 sharp. Looking forward to it, but hopefully I'll run into Big O. Shout out to Big O. Hopefully we'll see the Taco Shack. Was it 18th annual Taco Shack Bowl?
18th annual Taco Shack Bowl. We talked a little bit about it on Sunday when we had our episode 2. I liked Anderson. You liked Anderson, yeah. Paul. Snoop liked Anderson. Zach was McCallum just because he doesn't want to be like everybody else. Still expect Anderson to win that football game, although McCallum does have a good chance to win that, I think, personally. Just because of the quarterback play from Cole Davis can be a difference maker.
Yeah, so can someone like straighten iron something out for me real quick?
Sure.
Is this a home game for who?
This one is Anderson, I believe.
It's an Anderson home game. So I just wanted to touch back from last year when we were on FanStan ATX. So we called the line at 21.5. That would be considered a dominant win by my metric standard. Wouldn't that be right?
By the Paul Rodriguez metric standard, yes, a dominant win would be.
And that's where Snoop Daniel set the line at 21.5. We heard something a little different tonight. We don't know if it's changed, but I think that would be a big win if they Anderson pulled out that 21-plus.
We're going to have to start like a little power ranking.
Yeah.
Let's do that. Recon power rankings. See how many dominant wins you can get. We'll use the Paul Rodriguez dominant win scale. So that one's tomorrow. Taco Shack Bowl, McCallum versus Anderson. Also tomorrow, Pflugerville and Bowie. Interesting Thursday night game at Burger Stadium. I'm almost tempted to say that this game would probably be the premier game if it wasn't for the Taco Shack Bowl. Pflugerville Bowie over the years has become quite a rivalry. Thursday night, 7:30 p.m., Pflugerville visiting Burger Stadium. Coach Taylor in his second year at Pflugerville. I'm going to have to go with the Bowie Bulldogs, though, just because of Trinidad Sanders and some of the other guys that they have coming back. Plus, it's a home game. Pflugerville still got some, in my opinion, they've got some work to do under Coach Taylor. So I'm going to go with Bowie. I don't know if I'm going to go to that game. I'm probably going to go check out another game, of course, Eastview, Westwood. That's going to be at Kelly Reeves Thursday night, 7 o'clock. start, so I gotta leave work a little bit early. I'm gonna go check out. My Warriors. Check out Eastview. Eastview's gonna come back, hopefully a little bit better than they were last year. But I think I'm gonna go to Eastview, Westwood. Zach, are you gonna check out a game tomorrow? No. As he's eating his KFC bowl, I had to ask him a question. My bad, bro. My bad. Also tomorrow night, Weiss and Leander, Stony Point and Killeen. That's the Thursday night games. Also, shout out to St. Michael's. They'll be taking on Navarro tomorrow. Hendrickson at Texarkana. That game's in Waxahachie. Last year, that was a 56-0 win for Hendrickson. That was after that one. That was
say that word again. Where is it going to be?
Waxahachie.
How do you spell it?
Waxah.
Where are you getting walks?
That's how you say it, bro. Waxahachie.
Golden Waxahachie?
Yeah, dude. Waxahachie.
It's Waxahachie.
No, bro. I'm telling you.
How?
Okay. If I had this thing hooked up, I would call somebody that I know that's from Waxahachie, as you say.
And then, that's how they would say it.
And if you said Waxahachie, they would laugh in your face, bro. They would say
you must be from the other one.
They would say it's Waxahachie.
Well, that's incorrect, but all right.
It is not incorrect. I'm going to call Kim.
Let's just think about
Friday night.
Let's just think about
it's Waxahachie.
Let's just think about how you spell the word Mexico and the way you say it in Spanish phonetically. So you would have the WA, so Waxahachie. Phonetically in Spanish. But I follow what Chris is saying. I'm backing Chris on this one because I don't know anybody from Waxahachie.
It's Waxahachie,
See, I kind of think I was waiting for you to say that.
Stony Point at Killeen, also at Leo Buckley Stadium. Stony Point going to be, I think, a favorite in this game. Don't know much about the Killeen Kangaroos. Leo Buckley is an old stadium. I always liked playing there back in the day. All right, Friday night, Cedar Park, Vandegrift, Monroe Stadium. That's going to be the game that everybody's going to be looking at on Friday night. Mr. Zach Lucero is going to be there doing some sideline reporting. Zach, are you allowed to make a pick in Cedar Park versus Vandegrift?
No, I talked to my esteemed colleagues, and we just think it would be too. You don't want to give off the wrong kind of vibe as we're giving the play-by-play. You know what I'm saying? So, no, I'm gonna stick to just
reporting on the sideline.
Yeah, just reporting on the sideline.
So what do you do? What kind of reports do you make? What do you say? What do you say?
Normally, I say hi to all my friends.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure talk to the players, kind of ask them how it's going out there. If I like to ask if they're talking smack. I like to say hey, they talking trash or not? And most of the time they say no, but I think they lie. The Mongozis, they're always talking trash. So I like to get. They're probably going to be my in this year. Last year, I was really close to a lot of the seniors last year, so I kind of have to reevaluate who my ends are going to be. But no, I like to check out the student section, see how things are going there, how excited they are. And this Vandegrift always gets up for this CP game. But as soon as that, talk to the players about how it is out there. Some of the assistant coaches, talk to them. But just regular sideline duties. I have a field mic that doesn't work, so if I want to make an update, I have to text.
Do they do that on purpose?
Now that you think about it,
are you so talented, Zach, that they cut your mic? Are they so intimidated by the Zach Lucero-ness that they gave you crappy equipment on purpose?
Honestly, I think my takes are just too hot.
Too
for
hot
the
to
radio
handle,
waves.
too cold to hold. I believe that. I believe that. Cedar Park, Vandegrift, Friday night, 7:00, Monroe Stadium. Zach Lucero is going to be there. Paul Rodriguez, where are you going to be Friday night?
I'm going to do a double dip at House Park and watch the Travis Rebels take on my hometown Lockhart Lions.
Damn! Shout out the Lions.
Shout out to the Lockhart Lions.
Rebels.
Have a new coach, Todd Moeb's, coming in from Abilene Cooper.
All right.
Was doing a little background investigation on not that deep, not that intrinsic, but Todd Moeb's was at Abilene Cooper for 9 years, and of those 9 years, he was always doing his game plan right the week before Thanksgiving. So he's used to going 3 or 4 rounds deep. 1 year he only went 1 round deep, and it was always Alito. Alito was his Achilles heel that would knock him out of the playoffs.
That'd be everybody's Achilles heel for sure.
Yeah, and I'm interested to see, because Lockhart was used to running that slot T. They had done it for 8 years, and it's going to be a totally revamped offense. But Todd Moabs is going to make some dogs out of the Lockhart line, so I'm going to be interested to see how that goes tomorrow night. But I think it's going to be an equal contest between Travis and the Lockhart Lions.
All right, so Paul Rodriguez is going to be out at House Park double dipping Thursday night, Taco Shack Bowl, Anderson McCallum, and then Lockhart Travis on Friday night. I was looking at Austin High Conley because that's an interesting game for me. Austin High looking to have a great season. I'm not going to make that game. If I really wanted to make a game, I really would probably go McNeil Del Valle, guys. I want to see Burton. I want to see what Coach's son has to offer.
I think you're going to see a light show. It's going to be a highlight every drive they go down. On this one, I'm going to give our scores. I think we talked about posting our predictions through our social media. So if y'all want to see our predictions, y'all can check us out at Recon Athlete. And but I think it's going to be a humongous test. And I think Coach Burton, I think Snoop, we heard Snoop earlier on IHS fan that these guys at Del Valle, man, they got the right group of guys and the right coaches at the right time. So big things for the Del Valle Cardinals.
All right, so a lot of high school football coming up. Week 1, Recon Podcast, Episode 3. We're going to actually do an Episode 4. It's going to be our first Friday night podcast. That's going to be Friday night after the games, fellas. I think we've decided that we want to try to do this. It's going to be me and Paul because Zach's got some prior engagements. Going to help out Snoop at the Fan Stand Studios. Not sure if he's going to make it for Friday night, but we are going to try to get some audio from Zach from the Vandegrift and Cedar Park game. But Friday night, we're going to try to do a little recap, review of Thursday and Friday night games. Maybe even do a little bit of a preview for Saturday's college football if we got time. But I think there's going to be so much things going on Thursday and Friday, so we're probably going to just do college or high school football wrap-up on Friday night. All right, before we get out of here, fellas, NFL, Paul Rodriguez had a hot take. What's been hot all week, like a teapot, keep your head hot, it's been Andrew Luck. What's your take, Paul?
So I found something online, and it was pretty interesting. There was a little Twitter beef going on between the legendary 3-time champion Hall of Famer Troy Aikman and a guy by the name of Doug Gottlieb, who, from my understanding, is a college basketball expert. But this is what Doug Gottlieb had to say in regards to the retirement of Andrew Luck, and I quote, "Retiring because rehabbing is, air quotes, too hard is the most millennial thing I've ever heard. Hashtag Andrew Luck." In response to that, the legendary Troy Aikman had to say, "That's total bullshit, Doug. What qualifies you to decide how someone should live their life? So you're now the authority on what motivates Andrew Luck? And if his decision don't fit into what you think is best for him, then you rip him? Guess that's what keeps you on FS1. Nice." When I had that interpretation of what Troy Aikman had to say about what Doug Gottlieb had to think about Andrew Luck's retirement and impromptu, I think Troy Aikman had hit the nail on the head. I don't think a talking head has the authority, much less the avenue to kind of say what's right or what's wrong for an athlete and choose how he wants to choose to live his life after he's contributed and put his life on the line each week for the past, 14 years for Andrew Luck, going from high school to college to the pros. What do you think about that, Chris?
I think Doug Gottlieb had every right to say that. I think Doug Gottlieb is trying to be media. I think if you're in the media, you need to take a stance. And if you take a stance, you better take that stance. There's no moderation in media. That's the only thing, man. I'm a moderate outside of, the podcasts and outside of the radio, but everything that I've learned while I've been in radio in the past is you take a stance and you take a hard stance. That's kind of what's wrong with America right now because everybody is hard left or hard right. But Doug Gottlieb took a hard stance. And I think, he doesn't know what it takes to make it in the NFL, but he does know what it takes to make it as a D1 athlete at Notre Dame, as a basketball player. Not much of an NBA star at all, but, I think he knows to a point what it takes to be a star athlete. I don't agree with Doug Gottlieb.
Right.
But I also believe that he had every right to make that take. And you got to think how many people, including us on this podcast, are talking about Doug Gottlieb. I am actually a fan of Doug Gottlieb. I have been. Don't like his take here, but I do believe he has every right to make it. Zach Lucero.
I mean, I agree with everything you said, Paul. Like, and like Chris said, like we don't have to agree. And I agreed with your take on it because I don't agree with what he said. Like I do think Andrew Luck has every right to decide to hang it up. But I agreed with everything you said up until you said he doesn't have the avenue. He has exactly the avenue to have that sort of opinion. Like he speaks on the channel, and that's kind of been Fox Sports' thing, is to kind of have these really far-fetched takes or these really extreme takes. That's why you get guys like Colin Cowherd from ESPN. That's why you get Skip Bayless from ESPN. That's why you get Doug Gottlieb too, is for these kinds of takes. And while we don't have to agree with him, like, and I don't think there's anything wrong with what Troy Aikman says, and it's Doug Gottlieb's job is to kind of start this narrative on these topics, is to get us to talk about them. And good job, Doug Gottlieb. We're talking about it.
It's just fascinating that an individual like Doug Gottlieb just takes the emotions out of what, or not what I want to say is the work that Andrew Luck put into his career, I think, is being taken away by what Doug Gottlieb said, and blaming a group of individuals and having that be the measuring stick for what Andrew Luck is or is not doing for his own wellness and health.
And while we're all saying that we disagree with Doug Gottlieb, there's thousands of Colts fans right now that agreed with how many likes does his tweet have?
A lot.
And those are all Colts fans that do agree with what he said, because he hurt them, like he legitimately, like I saw an article that there's like a petition and people that are asking for refunds on their season tickets because these people spent thousands of dollars because Andrew Luck was going to lead them to the playoffs. I'd rather spend $100 to see them lose to the Saints one day than thousands of dollars to watch every game.
The Colts fans right now for the past 20 years have been privileged. They've had Peyton Manning, and then afterwards they brought in Andrew Luck. They have had years of dominance, years of winning. May not have many Super Bowls. They got one in those 20 years, but they're a spoiled kid right now. They've had their candy, they've had their cake, and they ate it too for 20 years. And now a man chose to choose his wellness and his health before a game that he was handsomely compensated for. And the fans, to me, are crying like spoiled brats right now.
I will agree to a point. I didn't like the booing, Paul, but I think alcohol and football and the emotions of a group of people and a mob mentality took over those Colts fans. They heard about it. It kind of got through all of the crowd. They didn't like the way it was, the news was given out. So I don't blame them for booing. I don't like the fact that they did. I probably wouldn't have booed, but I'm going to tell you what, Colts fans, if I were a Colts fan, I grew up in Indianapolis. I was looking forward to Andrew Luck coming back. I got to say, fellas, if I had a few beers in me, I might have booed his ass as well.
And I mean, and we talked about this last time, it's huge on the organization to let that leak. But as soon as that leaks, Andrew Luck's team should not let him be on the sideline there. As soon as that leaked, somebody should have went and tapped Andrew on the shoulder and be like, yo, we need to leave now. These people are about to start booing us because they started booing him. And also, it's the worst kind of people are the people that, like, the people with the worst types of opinion on something are people that are just starting to get into that certain topic. Yeah. The Colts were just starting to be good again. They were just starting to be on this wave of Andrew Luck, comeback player of the year, late playoff push, Marlon Mack, what's the linebacker, T.Y. Hilton going crazy, that linebacker they got late in the draft. Like they were just starting to be back on this winning wave, and then all of a sudden you're going to take that right out from under them. They were just setting the table, and now all of a sudden you're going to mess it all up. That's the mindset that these Colts fans are in, and Andrew Luck is the dude that ruined the party.
Yeah, that's true. Andrew Luck, good luck, bro. No pun intended. All right, Recon podcast number 3. We talked college football. To recap, Trevor Lawrence is only good because he's good looking. Zach, you got something?
Y'all misconstruing that take. Y'all need to go back and listen. But All right, so the our bet pick of the day, next Thursday night, first NFL game of the year. Packers at Bears. The over/under is set for 46 points. Over/under. I got the under.
I'll go under as well.
Paul. Yeah, I can't do that. I can't go. I gotta go under.
What was our last? Do we have another last bet? We didn't have another bet, did we?
Yeah, the Auburn Oregon game.
Okay. All right. Yeah, we got to start writing this stuff down because I never remember. Recon podcast number 3. We talked Trevor Lawrence. We talked high school football. We talked Andrew Luck. And I think Paul's got one more thing before we let you go.
If y'all are really enjoying the podcast, please like, subscribe, and turn on the bell down there in the bottom left of the screen. We'd really appreciate you. We'll let you know when each podcast drops.
And make sure you tune in Friday night. We'll hopefully try to get this out Friday night, maybe Saturday morning, but it's going to be Friday night. We're going to recap everything from Thursday, Friday night, high school football. Also give you a little take on college and NFL as well. Recon podcast. For Zach Lucero, Paul Rodriguez, I'm Chris Sanchez.